Hi, I'm Stephen Brevin. I'm here with Jim McGregor at Super Return China. And we're going to discuss the basics of China at the moment. And in particular, I wanted to start with Chinese manufacturing. China's been dominant in manufacturing for the last decade, and it's been said that software is going to be the manufacturing of the future. Is China going to dominate software in the decades to come the way it has dominated manufacturing?
I think it's going to get tough for China because manufacturing is moving more and more to additive manufacturing and 3D manufacturing coming on strong, which I think will bring a lot of manufacturing back, reshoring to the US and Europe. China's going to have to stay up on that curve, and China so far has been throwing bodies at manufacturing, so they do have a place to move up in productivity, but China's not going to be innovating, they're going to be following, and if this 3D manufacturing keeps going the way it is, it's a real threat for China.
Okay, now you mentioned that China's been throwing bodies at manufacturing. One of the interesting statistics that's come out recently is actually China has a declining workforce. How's that going to pan out?
Yeah, in fact, it's, when you reach this middle income area, you run out of low-cost labor naturally in a country, and because of the one child policy, it's accelerated here. So the group of 20 to 24-year-olds in this country that work in the factories is declining by half in this decade. It's a real big problem. Plus wages are going way up because they let labor fall behind for so long. So part of it is on productivity, but you're just not going to be making a lot of low-end hand goods here anymore. That's moving to Vietnam, Bangladesh, and elsewhere.
Okay, and that's moving offshore. And we were talking earlier, and you said that actually manufacturing or labor for manufacturing is actually cheaper in Mexico than it is in parts of China. How's that going to affect the onshoring?
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? That it used to be like, I think it was 180% higher in Mexico than China, and now it's lower, something like that. And plus, you want to ship a refrigerator from Qingdao, or you want to ship it from Mexico to the U.S. So the world is changing. China's had a really good run, and to keep growth going and move on to the next stage, they've got to make a lot of changes here. And they have to become more of a consumer-driven economy, less fixed asset investment, less dependent on exports, and bringing in more technology and automation, which means protecting IPR, which has not been China's strong suit.
Okay, and Mexico could be the solution for the US as a cost reduction compared to China. What's going to be the answer for Europeans? Is that going to be Mexico as well, or is that they're going to turn to Africa?
Well, that's a very good question. I don't know. I really don't know enough about that. But I think Africa right now for China is a trade investment for natural resources. And in fact, it's hasn't been going so well because China is not very good at being magnanimous. It knows how to get what it wants. And so it goes and it builds infrastructure, but it brings 30,000 workers over to do it, and it trades it for natural resources. And some countries in Africa are getting really dodgy about that. So China again China's never emerged in the world before. It was cloistered for a long time, or in the old days, everybody came here and paid tribute to the emperor. China's got it's a new world now for China to go out and be a global player, and also to be a global leader.
Okay, and obviously the comments you made about China moving workers to Africa. China has a very large spare male population, and they seem to have been moving a few of those to Africa. Now, that's not going to solve the whole problem, but is that a driving force of their investment in Africa? How concerned are the politicians about this spare male population?
Well, an excess of testosterone is never a good thing, and if you read the sociologists' studies and demographers, it's a big worry, this big overhang of men. It's 35 million men of marriage age.
And counting.
Yeah, without wives. Who knows how? It hasn't happened in the world before. So who knows how it's going to manifest itself?
It hasn't happened on this scale, but it has happened. And the solution hasn't been very pretty.
Yes. Well, I mean, some people say it could lead to conflict as you have this excess male population. I don't know where it's going to go with China, but it's an issue of the future that people should have an eye on.
And in particular, the reality is, while it's 30 to 40 million spare male population, the reality is it's not going to be the professionals that are going to struggle to find a wife. It's not going to be the employed workers that are going to struggle to find a wife. It's going to be the low-end, unskilled labourers who frankly have less to lose in not finding a wife and responding to that in an active fashion.
Yes. It's really a great unknown. I tell you though, if I was the government here, I'd be more worried about the educated. They've increased the college graduate force so fast. They've gone from 6 million people in college total to graduating 6.5 million a year within a decade. So they've got all these college graduates and they don't have jobs for them, and their average wage now is the same as a migrant worker. They're a spoiled population of city kids. I think the government's more worried about them at this point. China, as their internal security budget is larger than the military budget, at least what's announced. And so, so far they've always been able to get people working on infrastructure projects and keep them busy and keep them off the farm, etc.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, and look forward to catching up with you again.
Okay, thank you.